Hey there, it's Karen. Happy post-Halloween to all you guys suffering from too much candy in your bellies today. I feel fine. I feel pretty good. I had a good weekend, just relaxed a lot, watched some movies. I also did some cleaning, so that doesn't really sound exciting, but the nice thing about it is I woke up this morning looking at the area that I cleaned up. It was kind of a closet space that I couldn't even walk through, and I was so proud of myself. And it gave a good start to my day. And what I do too is if I'm cleaning and stuff, I'll just crank some music and just make it an enjoyable experience as opposed to just trying to fight it every step of the way. Get your vacuum cleaner out going, I hate my vacuum cleaner. Might need one of those little Roombas, but I think those things would freak me out. So I did have a really good weekend. Whiskey had way too much candy, so he's passed out, so he might not be talking to you guys too much today. Because if he talks any day, of course, we know he doesn't talk any day, but today he might not be talking as much. So here we are Monday morning. It's going to be a rough day for a lot of kids with belly aches and stuff. But Monday mornings are especially rough for a lot of people. Just, historically, it's tough for people to wrap their head around the date. I almost wish that there was no such words put to our days. It's just, how about today? Today is today. And I understand you have to integrate with the world, and there has to be some kind of organized system to make sure everybody's where they're supposed to be in that, but there's something attached to the word Monday. And then, there's all those songs, Tell Me Why I Don't Like Mondays, all those songs, and Mondays always get me down. It's just like, we have to have a new approach to Monday. So I woke up feeling pretty good that I had done all my cleaning and stuff and woke up, feeling like I had a good fresh start on the week. So I try not to look at the days too much, though. But for many people, Mondays are really rough. I received an email from somebody that I want to discuss the topic of suicide today, and it's not a good topic for a lot of people to listen to. And if you're one of those people that you're just not going to tune in today, that's cool. We'll see you tomorrow. But I got an email specifically asking me if I would consider dealing with the topic of suicide. And while it's super heavy, I don't like to ignore an email like that because, and I've also had comments just, periodically that I don't like to ignore either, just from people who feel like even if it's just a cry for help, as though people, give that name to it, which I don't like, but even if it's just something like that where they don't really mean it, you don't know who means it and who doesn't. So I take it very seriously when I see it. I don't put a lot of responsibility on me to fix it, though, because I don't feel equipped to fix that with anyone. I do feel equipped to show lots of love and compassion, but I am not a professional in this field. Therefore, if you have somebody that you are dealing with that, and you think you are going to come in and save the day, may I highly suggest you get professional help involved. It's usually more serious than you think it is, and a lot of people are really good at covering it up. A lot of people are really good at making jokes just to offset it, and so it's a serious topic. It's really serious, and if you really do truly love the person that you think is going through something like this, you really should be encouraging them to get the help that they need. But like I said, I don't take on the responsibility because it's a burden to try to fix people out there. And when I say burden, I don't mean that in a bad way, but it's generally, if you are not equipped, then you have just taken on a burden. Whereas if you are an equipped individual or a therapist or a doctor or something like that, then you're not burdened with that because you know the solutions. You know what the help is out there, and you can channel it through its proper channels. You don't lie awake at night. So I've learned over the years that if somebody is dealing with something like that, I do what I can to encourage them to hit the proper channels, but I do not try to save anyone. So that's really important. And I don't cover topics that I have had zero experience in. I have been suicidal. I have gone through this with my doctor. So I feel it's something I can talk about, but it's certainly not something I can fix anyone, and I can't stress that enough, that if you do know someone that is going through this, that you just really need to encourage them to get the proper help they need. And proper help is out there, because I am proof that proper help is out there. I have been through it. My doctor helped me through it, and your family doctor can help you through it as well. It's they have so many resources now. It used to be a topic that people were ashamed to talk about back in the old days. It was like a shameful topic. Now it's a topic that there are so many resources out there that these people are really, really happy to help. They feel it's a sense of enjoyment they get because they actually entered a career to help people like you. And so if this is something you're going through, these people love to help you, and they're equipped. That's the most important part, is they are fully equipped to help you. So I was glad that my doctor was able to help me through this. I had specific people in my life who helped me, but it was my doctor specifically who helped me through it, and I can't say that enough. So it's rather a dangerous topic to talk about because you just never know whose nerve you're going to hit when you're discussing it. So instead of me trying to come off like some professional, I really want to talk directly to the people who, if you are in the family and you have family and friends who are dealing with suicidal tendencies, I don't want to address the people who have lost people to suicide. I don't know firsthand what that is like. I can't imagine the pain that you must be going through, but I know there are people out there who can also help you through that. And my heart goes out to you. It's just, that must be the most painful thing in the world, to feel like, oh, could I have done something or whatever, and it's just like, there's deeper truths that I think are out there for people like you. Now, for me, some of my family and friends knew, others didn't. Some took it seriously and some didn't. I can tell you this much, there's no such thing as too much love. I think you can really you can really love a person that's going through that, but at the same time make sure that it's, coupled with them getting the help they need. I have heard people say, well, they got to toughen up, which is ridiculous to me. Sorry, I'm still fighting this cold, so you'll see me doing this a lot. I have allergies too, so I'm doing that all the time anyway, but there is no such thing as listening too long. I've heard people say, well, they just want attention. In my situation, I didn't think I was being weak, and I actually didn't want anybody's attention. My brain wasn't even going there. I wanted out, and I wanted to be left alone. It had absolutely nothing to do with lacking courage. For those who call suicide a cowardly act, may I suggest, highly suggest, educating yourself. I personally did not feel weak. I didn't feel cowardly, but I felt extraordinarily sad, which has nothing to do with being weak or being strong. It's sad. It's its own thing. A sad person can still get themselves to work every day. A sad person can put on a happy face for the crowds. I thought it was interesting to hear that Owen Wilson had that an attempt. I think it was in 2005. And if you look at his IMDb profile, where he lists all the the movie credits that they have, he was doing really well. His career was going really incredibly well. The films he was making at the time were churning out stellar, and may I add, hysterically funny performances. When I watch those films, I don't see anything in his performance that would suggest he was not doing well. He looked great, had a good bounce in his step. In fact, there's a scene in Wedding Crashers, which a lot of people have been discussing now since he's come out talking about it, where Vince Vaughn walks in on him when he's reading a book that's called Don't Jump, Life is Worth Living. Crazy, right? To think that he was actually going through depression that he hid from everybody. And can you imagine they're on this set and they give Owen Wilson this book, So I don't know all the story behind that, but just suffice to say, we have no clue who is suicidal. We just have absolutely no clue. Chalking it up to cowardice is lacking education. I've also heard people say it's a sin or a crime. Well, a sin is supposed to be something where you do the opposite of what you know is right. And I can tell you firsthand, I was not thinking about right or wrong. As far as making it a crime, what are you going to go to jail? Like, come on. Are you going to send someone to jail who's attempted it and just call it a crime? They didn't know they were doing anything wrong. Putting someone under suicidal watch is one thing, but sins and crimes have definitions that have absolutely nothing to do with this. You have to be alert enough to know you were doing something wrong, and my brain specifically, and I won't talk for everybody, but my brain specifically was so far the other way in its own galaxy. Completely not thinking about right or wrong, or am I weak or strong, or anything like that, just nothing. Unimaginable sadness was my problem. But for many people, there are other reasons. And that's why I keep saying go to your family doctor. So I love getting these emails from you and from anybody out there. And I will absolutely talk about anything because I love to discuss things with people. And if I can make a difference, even if it's just me saying go to your doctor and somebody does that, then I feel like I've made some kind of impact. So that's good. But I cannot stress that enough because there's going to be somebody, there always is somebody on the sidelines that'll say, Karen, they need a professional. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying go to a professional. I was very glad I did because my visit saved me. I didn't even want to go in. He met me out on the street. Luckily, I lived in a smaller town, so I had a really awesome doctor this way, but he met me out on the street and told me to come into his office. So he is totally a professional. He can completely see things that my personal friends and family were not seeing. So I remember telling him that I didn't want to go on an SSRI, which, is like an antidepressant. And he asked why. And I said, well, I don't want to be on drugs, which this is ridiculous. Here I am suicidal, but I don't want to be on drugs. It's like, well, what kind of damage are you doing to your body? And he says, well, they're better than the alternative. And that phrase right there stuck with me. And I couldn't believe what I was hearing. The fact that I was verbalizing the fact that I thought drugs were worse than me killing myself, at that time. So anyway, he got me through that whole thing, and it was really amazing. I took the very first dose right in his office that day. He explained serotonin to me. I've talked to you guys extensively about serotonin, and when I used to manage the women's health facility, I also discussed serotonin with a lot of the clients that had come in. It is that happy chemical in your brain that when it's depleted, you physically cannot be happy. It's just something that you cannot do if you have a depletion in that. There's ways you can raise that. Drugs are not the only thing. I also bumped up my exercise. I ate more things that had omegas in them. So there are things you can do. So he also explained about depression was like water going down the drain. He says you see it going, you can stop it for a time, and then at the end it swooshes down very quickly and you can't catch the end of it. He told me that I was at a point where I was not physically capable of stopping with my hands, and he put in the stopper. So these people know what they're doing. They absolutely know what they're doing. Then he told me to take in a deep breath and said, do not think about tomorrow. You get to experience today. Let's just do right now. We'll get through this together. You are not alone. Stuck with me forever. And amazing, amazing man. He's not just a good doctor. He's a good doctor with a good amount of character. And so another thing I would suggest is if you think your doctor just has a crappy bedside manner, go get another one. You owe that to yourself to have somebody taking care of you who is amazing. It was advice that I still implement, even though I'm not depressed anymore. I had a series of steps and hurdles to get right out of it. I had roots to get to. I like taking life in steps, though, not just because it's overwhelming, but because it's beautiful. Many of us feel extreme emotions without being suicidal. It's the gray area of life. Frustration, anger, sadness, loneliness are prevalent in many people's homes and lives. I'm learning to use those as a vehicle for my art or to help someone. The fact that there's still people out there who are feeling any of these and are good at hiding it leads me to believe that we should treat everyone with kindness when we run into them. I left with a Plato quote where he says, be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle. So I'm going to leave it on that today. It's very true. Everybody out there is fighting a hard battle. So the first step we can take to making just society better overall is to show more love and compassion, because you just never know who needs it, all right? So I will leave that with you today. Thank you so much for sending that in. Again, I'm not coming off as a professional here at all, just sharing my own story, okay? So I'll tune in with you guys again tomorrow. Say goodbye, Whiskey. Rock on. Rock on.